Soto and Chad here. And Soto, we've talked a little bit about wrestling here and there. We talked about the first WrestleMania. We both watched the first Netflix special or first Netflix Raw, so to speak. Hit or miss, it depends on, where you stand on it. But it's that time of year. And the Royal Rumble's just around the corner. We've done some fun Royal Rumble gaming on our channel. Before we revisit the first one, because that's kind of where it started. Let me ask you, why do you think the Royal Rumble was a hit for you? Why do you love this concept?
I hate battle royales as a concept. I think what we saw that in WrestleMania 1. Was that the one that we
The
saw?
second one, the second one,
Or the
yeah,
second WrestleMania? Yeah, I think that when you have a bunch of guys in the ring at the same time, whether it's 20 or 30 guys, if you don't have somebody controlling the action or if you don't have any professionals, which I don't think there were really in the second one or in WrestleMania 2, it's just a mishmash of crap. But they added that whole countdown thing and that adds such a level of excitement and anticipation to what is usually like kind of a boring thing. So the ability to have guys come out and stagger them, um, having guys be eliminated and everything like that, it just has a way better pace. And so that version of the Rumble, that came from obviously the first Royal Rumble, and then on. That one is my favorite one just because of just the excitement, the pacing, and just how different it is. Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I know other people love Rumbles a lot more than I do, but when I was watching this one, the first Rumble, I was reminded about just how exciting it can be. Given that somebody is running it that has a kind of a feeling for pace, and I'm sure we'll talk about that.
yeah, and it's funny because they've obviously, for lack of better terms, fixed a lot what was wrong with the first Rumble because
Hmm.
obviously they were testing things out. And the funny thing is, to me, about this whole thing, and a lot of diehard fans know, is that Vince McMahon actually hated the idea of the Royal Rumble. He said
Hmm.
there's no way fans would be interested in an hour match. And now, obviously, to me, it's the probably the best gimmick match there is. They have a lot of good gimmick matches because you're right. In a battle royale, you get 20, 30 men in the ring at the same time. Until you get to the final four or five, nothing much is happening exciting.
Yeah.
That's where the real story. But like I said, the Royal Rumble, the timer and stuff like that. But yeah, the reason why this happened, I don't know how well you know this, is that after WrestleMania 3, they did the very first Survivor Series. They wanted something for Thanksgiving. They had a fun gimmick, five versus five elimination, something different for that time. And fans loved it. And a lot of people were like, what's the next thing we can do? And Pat Patterson came up with the Royal Rumble. He had this idea of like, all right, every 2 minutes, someone comes in. He just thought it was a great way, as you said, to pace a battle royal, something different. And Vince McMahon laughed at him. Well, the very first Royal Rumble was not even on a pay per view. It was on USA Network on a special event. It wasn't even the main event of the show, Soto.
I
Like it was,
know.
there's a tag team one. A lot happened on the show, or maybe didn't happen, which we may or may not get to. But they were with the USA executives and they were like, what can we do different that's not done normally? And Vince McMahon drew a blank, but Pat Patterson was with them. He's like, Pat, tell him your stupid idea for a Royal Rumble. And Pat laughed and he's like, it's not stupid, and he explained it. And the guy's like, I love it. And it was the USA executive says, we can put a time clock on the screen. He got the concept and it
Yeah.
worked. But yes, the very first one was 20 men.
Yeah.
Obviously, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the great fan favorite. So rewatching it though, outside of nostalgia, what did you
Hmm.
think of it?
Honestly, I thought it was great. And as I get older as a wrestling fan, and we've talked about it, I have not watched wrestling for 25 years. I just watched, obviously, like you said, the Netflix Raw thing, which I have my issues with. But I can understand from a nostalgic purpose, like, it was entertaining for the first 10 minutes, but that's a whole nother episode. I, as I've gotten older, have come to just have such an appreciation for Bret Hart and what he brings to the ring. And I think that we've talked about it before, he was really instrumental in helping out that original Battle Royale and just kind of making sure that guys were where they're supposed to be and understanding pace. And I think that he did that in this one too. He came out number one, and it was him and Tito Santana. And, Bret Hart, I think he lasted to 18. But he's there keeping the pace. And, when everybody was in the ring and the 20th man had finally come out, there was some really exciting spots that had happened after that too. Ultimate Warrior made like a guest appearance in there, but that last, like when everybody was in the ring, it was super fast paced. People started going out quickly. There were huge spots, and then leading up to just how Hacksaw Jim Duggan got Dino Bravo eliminated, and then just the iconic spot where he pulls down the ropes and one man gang goes over. That is huge. And the audience was very into it as well. So it was such an improvement over the Battle Royale concept that rewatching it, this is now my second time rewatching it recently, it definitely picks up, and I can definitely see why it became an all-time classic. Again, the Battle Royale with the fridge and everything on WrestleMania 2 was boring and terrible. But then again, this one, and these guys are coming out with a counter, and they're not coming out to their theme music or anything. They're just coming out. Whoever comes out, comes out. I think one of the biggest pops of the night was when Jake the Snake came out, I think number 4. Because Tito Santana, he was getting himself pretty beat up by the Hart Foundation and everything like that. I mean, I get it. It's supposed to be every man for themselves, but this is not sports. This is sports entertainment. It's a storyline. And somebody like Bret Hart, I was watching an interview with him the other day. It's all about creating a story in the match and having your moves tell a story and having that, kept in a good pace. So, for me, I just thought it was, pretty fast paced and a good watch.
Yeah. There was a lull in the middle, and I laughed because I think in the middle, because obviously the guys did not fully understand the rules, because I also know that Vince McMahon did not really have a hand in this. Pat Patterson was asking for just some help, just thoughts, and he didn't. But, like, for example, Nikolai Volkov, I kind of forgot this happened. He ran out the same time as Don Morocco, and then they had to wait there.
And, keep coming back to the Bret Hart point, but Bret Hart is just such an awesome wrestler at his craft, and it is an art form, just like Triple H was saying. It's an art form. It needs, you need to keep the pace. Pacing is so huge, when it comes to this, when it comes to wrestling. So, again, I was highly entertained. I'm still going to be watching. I'm going to make my way through the Rumbles, although I'm kind of watching everything just in order yearly right now. But yeah, I thought it was great.
Me too. And yeah, that's why they became one of the big 4, what they call the big 4 pay-per-view, and became a real pay-per-view the year after. So
yeah.
But yeah, I love the Rumble, and just like on our channel, I just love making up Rumbles for us to just commentate, just sit back and be like, yeah, right. It's just fun.
It's chaos.
You just never know what's going to happen. It's chaos. It's chaotic.
It's chaotic, but it's controlled, and some really awesome things happen. I think they eventually made it so if you won the Rumble, you'd get a title shot. That was like eventually
1993 was the first one. Yeah, Yokozuna.
So
the
that
year
was
before
like
Ric Flair. Yeah, won the championship.
So I think that's still now, right? Because I think when Cena came out, he was like, "Oh, I'm entering the Rumble," and then if he wins the Rumble, that's his ticket to WrestleMania. Because WrestleMania is like the season finale of WWE every year. So if you win the Rumble, you get to go to WrestleMania and
you basically main event for the title. You get to choose out of one of the 2 titles.
Oh, so yeah, SmackDown or Raw.
Well, it's just WWE World, but you pick your champion, and yes, so obviously, yeah, this is Cena's last year. He announced his retirement, so WrestleMania is not his last match. It's just this will be his last WrestleMania. So obviously, who knows what will happen with that? But yes, correct. You are correct. There's only been a couple times where the title's been online, but most of the time, the winner, men's and women's, gets to call their shot and gets the main event WrestleMania. So it's always a good stepping stone. Anyhow, to those who have listened to the end, let us know what you thought of the first Royal Rumble. You know what? Just tell us any of your favorite Royal Rumble moments. Who knows? There's a few we got to talk about. There's some crap Royal Rumbles out there too, but there's a lot of good ones. It's so much fun. So until next time, enjoy some wrestling.